to continue to run for the position from his jail cell. His slogan was, "I did it for a friend." He got elected while he was still incarcerated. When he got out, he went on to become mayor of Boston. On his second term as mayor, he got thrown in jail for mail fraud. The people of Massachusetts were so enamored with him, they put pressure on the United States president until Truman gave Curley a presidential pardon. He came home to a parade. He went on to become a 4-term mayor of Boston, 2-term state senator, and the 53rd governor of Massachusetts. Curley was awesome. Everybody knew Curley was a criminal. Nobody can. So the thing is, he actually was really good at his job. For another thing, our political system at the time was incredibly corrupt. We figured everyone was a criminal. Curley was just the one guy being honest about it. Also, his politics were focused towards the lower and middle class, with emphasis on the lower. Every Sunday after Mass, the poor would gather in front of Curley's house, called the House with the Shamrock Shutters, over at JP, Jamaica Plain. He would stand outside, hand out silver dollar coins to the homeless in his neighborhood, which, while nice, is not unique among politicians, give money to poor, but then he'd spend his afternoon with them. He did this every week. He'd talk with them, try to get jobs to those he could, and often he'd even invite them one at a time into his house, which is something the other politicians at the time were not known for. He also took great pride in his Irish heritage. The Irish, when they first came to Boston, late 1800s, still not really all that comfortable in their own skin. Curley, whenever he walked out of his house, he always made sure he had a purple shamrock on his lapel. If any of you have seen the TV show Boardwalk Empire, Nucky Thompson does the same thing with the red rose, so people know who he is. Also doesn't hurt that a third of our population is Irish, which means a third of our voters are also of Irish descent, which is how Curley kept getting elected. And he's still remembered very fondly today. There's a pair of statues of him over in Faneuil Hall. They've also got 3 pubs in the city named after him. There used to actually be more. They just closed down the Purple Shamrock last year. I like the Last Hurrah. That one's kind of classy. And if you look up on your right-hand side, it's slowly going to be coming into view. The old jailhouse where Curley spent a good portion of his political career is coming out now. It's going to be a big gray building, looks like a church. And you'll also notice directly behind it will be a large red brick building. They are now connected because it's no longer the Charles Street Jailhouse. Today it is the Liberty Hotel. It's got a bar called The Clink, a club called Alibi, and the Catwalk is actually still called The Catwalk, but now you can get dinner and drinks, like the Arsonist, or other themed drinks, which are delicious. Incredibly nice staff over there. I actually took my grandmother on a little walking tour. They let me take her around, walk her. For that, I always give them a little shout out for being nice. That being said, very pricey institution. We actually had to get my grandmother a chair because she fell down laughing because she heard someone order an $11 drink from her boss's old office. Apparently that was converted into a bar. So maybe good for a first round, but you should definitely check it out. The pictures alone are great. And here's, if you got a camera on you, that's the spot where you want to take the photo, right up there on the right-hand side. Or if you don't want the giant construction crews in your picture, just wait until a couple seconds after we pass underneath the bridge, straight on the right, but it does disappear from view very quickly. Now, if you do see someone driving by you in Boston with the license plate 576, that is the numerical form of James Michael Curley. That means the mayor of Boston just drove by. Every mayor since Curley has kept the vehicle's numbers by a tradition, including the previous mayor of Boston. His name was Thomas Menino. Now, real quick, you can just shout out, anybody know what Thomas Menino's nickname was? Really? Nobody? No locals? Thomas Menino? We called him Mumbles. See, now everyone says it. Yeah. Or Fumble Menino, yeah. Mumbles was not good with words. You see, when he first got into politics, no one really took him seriously because he had a very noticeable speech impediment. He'd kind of mumble when he talked. Also, the fact his words did not necessarily always make sense. He was at one point trying to describe having an albatross around his neck. He instead said he had an Alcatraz around his neck. He'd just do weird stuff like that all the time. And whether you're a Democrat, Republican, left or right wing, when you picture a politician, you usually pick someone with imagine someone with an extensive vocabulary, very loud, speaks great in front of, a crowd. That is like the opposite of Menino. So none of his opponents took him seriously when he first got into politics. Turns out, he's really good at politics. Longest running mayor in our city's history. 20 years. Earned him the title Mayor for Life, which he likes much more than Muggles. In fact, the last time he ran for office, he beat two guys at the same time. That is, in fact, his last two opponents combined their supporters and tried to create a position in the city called co-mayor, and they still lost by a whole big bunch. He also has the record of meeting, personally, 54% of the city of Boston. Over half of the city claims to have met him personally. That's over 350,000 people. It's actually kind of became a running joke in the running gag in the city of Boston. Everyone said that he was so bad speaking in front of crowds that he just said he was going to meet everybody one-on-one. Well, he almost did it. Still remembered very fondly, he actually had a 1.84% approval rating in the city of Boston. That being said, we still call him Mumbles. But it's more of an affectionate nickname now, and it's usually Mayor Mumbles. Now, up here on the right, I told you about the Big Dig earlier. This is another part of it. The Zakim Bridge cost $2 billion to put in. It is the widest cable stay suspension bridge in the world. Until Canada built one 20 feet long. Which they did because they're jealous of the Boston Bruins. I like when there are Canadians aboard because I can hear like the laughter just stop immediately when I say that. On the way inside, you do have the Museum of Science. My number one recommendation, if you've got little kids, or if it's raining or it gets too hot while you're in Boston, I know it's going to be like 80-something degrees tomorrow. Look on the wall here, right to left, you've got Nature, Mankind, Industry, Matter, and Space, the 5 themes in the Museum of Science. Now, if you don't want to spend the whole day inside here, which you've got the little kids, you will, because everything is touchable. You can press buttons, turn dials, pull levers. There's even a piano staircase you can run down that the little kids love. I actually also kind of like the piano staircase. They've got the Mugar Omni Theater. Many of you have been to an IMAX. Think that, but more intense. Last one I went to here, I took my mom. It was called Adrenaline. 45 minutes, puts you in the point of view of someone skydiving and then base jumping, and explains what's happening to your body as you yourself experience an adrenaline burst during the film. Do not take your mom to go see that particular film. As we make our way back in, please wait until either myself or the captain says it's safe to disembark. We do ask that you steer clear of the gate just on the left-hand side of the bar, just because it's going to swing open and close a bunch of times. If you guys had a good time today, tips are never expected, always appreciated by the crew. If any use Yelp or TripAdvisor or anything, if you like the narration, my name's Johnny. If you didn't like the narration, my name is Felipe. And I got one last fact for you. Up on the left, you're going to see a statue entirely compromised of human faces. It was done by a local artist. He walked through the city of Cambridge taking pictures of people. When he got home, he used those pictures to sculpt the statue. He made 2 mistakes. The first, as you'll notice, that statue looks wicked creepy. 2, he didn't tell people he was using their faces. So people would walk by here at night when they got out of the mall, see their own face staring down at them from the creepy-looking statue, and notice there's never really anyone standing over there either. And proceed to freak right out. No lawsuits, everyone's more than happy to be immortalized, but it did make its way in the papers. With that, I'm going to go give the captain a hail of the lines. If you guys want to know a good place to eat in the city, how to get there using the tea, museum recommendation, anything, myself or the captain will be more than happy to point you out somewhere just after we've got the boat safe and secured. And that, folks, just have a great day and enjoy the nice weather.